Burn it. Have you ever had that thought while working on a project? Well, you are not alone, so hang with me as I share this challenging furniture flip. I picked these up a little while ago from Habitat for Humanity Restore, and even though they weren't great quality, it was a set, and sometimes matching sets are hard to find. And I also just really like the top drawers because it reminded me of card catalogs that you used to see in libraries, and so I had been wanting to find something that I could use that hardware on, and so I just went ahead and got these. This leaf motif doesn't really go with what I'm planning to do on these nightstands, so I'm just going to fill them in with some wood filler. Alright, so my base coat of paint is dry, and I'm going to be using this Dixie Belle glaze, a chip brush to apply it, a deck staining brush, and this little handheld broom to give that wood look. I used Heirloom Traditions all-in-one paint for that base coat, and it was in the color Putty, which is a really light taupe color, and no sanding or priming is required, so that's part of the reason I use this paint a lot. But and I didn't really worry about getting total coverage or brush marks when I put it on, and same with this when I put the glaze on, because that just helps add to the wood grain look anyways. So here I am just putting on the glaze with a chip brush. You could use a sponge applicator or a foam brush, a rag, I mean really anything just to get it on there. And you do have some working time where it'll stay wet and movable, but it really just depends on your weather conditions of where you're working too. So doing it out in the sun like I did is probably not the best idea, but it was a cool day, so it worked out. Okay, right after you get the layer on, you want to take your big deck staining brush. It's a nice soft brush, and just drag it across in both directions. It really helps just blend everything in nicely and gives it a really good wood look. And then after that, I use this little handheld broom just to give it a little bit of a different look with some different grain lines. Alright, so first coat of glaze is dry. I may or may not mess with it some more. Haven't decided, but I had to add a little more filler here to that leaf detail, so I'm just going to sand that off now using my multi-tool. So I'm back to these card catalog style nightstands that I had hoped to be done with by now, but not thrilled with the way this part is looking here where I filled in the leaf design. It's not taking the glaze the way the rest of the piece is, so it just looks weird. So I have this trim that I cut down to size, and I'm gonna end up attaching that here and then just painting the entire front. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm using that Heirloom Traditions all-in-one again in the color Envy, which is a nice dark green. I thought it would complement the color of the glaze really well and match the style I'm going for too, just kind of a more traditional look. So I just applied that with a foam brush to just the fronts, and then also to the trim pieces. Okay, so I got this painted with 2 coats, but then I had to do a little sanding. I just want to make sure I have a flat surface for when I put these on, and I decided to do 2 to cover up that whole area since I had enough of this trim to do that. So I'm just going to put a little glue, and then I'll use my brad nailer also just to hold it in place while that glue dries. So here's the hardware that I could not wait to order and use, and it was sold as hardware, but look at the size of the screws that came with it. I mean, those are like almost small enough to use in your eyeglasses, and there is no way those are long enough to hold these securely on the drawers. So I took the hardware to the hardware store, and nice guy there helped me figure out what size of screws I needed, and they didn't have them in the color that I wanted, so I ended up ordering those off of Amazon. And unfortunately, when we went to use those, the heads of the screws were just breaking right off. So this time my husband went to a different hardware store and did end up finding another type of screw that eventually worked, so we were good on the small handles. First coat of glaze is dry, so now I'm just going to mark the holes for the hardware before I do the final coats. And this one is a little tricky. It looks like it's got like fake screws already showing, and then really the holes are here, so I'm gonna actually dab a little caulk on here, figure out where I want it, and then just tap it down so I can see where to put the holes. And then I will measure just to make sure my eye is not playing tricks on me, but I usually tend to just trust my eyeballs more than the measuring tape. So we'll see how this goes. I think that one might be throwing me off, so I'll just move that out of sight. That looks pretty dang good. So aside from the hardware challenges, the other big challenge that made me want to throw these into the fire pit were the drawers, because I made the mistake of sanding down one of the drawers whenever we first got these, and I was anxious to try paint washing them and just trying to decide what I wanted to do to get the wood look. And then it was months later when I came back to it, and I didn't do the same thing on the other 3 drawers. So that one drawer never matched the other ones, and I had to strip it, repaint it, and glaze it 3 different times to get it even close to the others. So if you listen to nothing else from this video, take it from me and don't do that. Whatever you do on one drawer, do it on all of them, even if you have to redo all of them, just so that they all match in the end. So here's a reminder of how they started. And I decided to go with a classic linen look for the drawer liners on the inside, and then also took some small pieces of that and added it to the hardware on the front just to tie that together. So here's how they turned out, and even though they were a big pain and not my original vision, I am satisfied with the way it came out. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching.